Hi guys. So in today's video, I'll be explaining you the question spatial triplets of CodeShell. So let's start with the question. I've not written the story behind that, just the main part. So the thing is that we have been given a triplet of integers a, b, and c, and this triplet is considered to be special if it satisfies some of the criteria, right? For a given integer n. So the criteria that this triplet needs to follow is that A mod B should be equal to C and B mod C should be equal to 0. And all of the elements A, B and C should be between 1 and n. So let's first make some sense out of these constraints. So we need to like find for some given n what all triplets basically exist which follow these two criterias, right? These two criterias. So let's first look at this second criteria right here. It says that b mod c is equal to 0, implying that b is nothing but some multiple of c, right? So this is the first observation that we have here. And let's now look at the first constraint. It says that a mod b is equal to c, implying that a must be of the form uh, which when some integer I is multiplied with b, there must be a remainder c to it. If a is of this type, then only this expression like will be true. Okay, so some of the key things that we need to make from these two constraints is that c can in fact vary from 1 to n, right? That's just given in the question. As C is not having any constraint, so let's just first define that C is varying from 1 to n. Now for B, we can have B as some integer k times C, right? This k belongs to some positive integer. Okay, so after saying this, we can say that as B is an integer multiple of C, so B will like also vary from 1 to n, right? So we can just find the range of k, for example, the values of k for which this criteria holds. We can just replace b by k by c and find the easily deduce that k should also be varying from n to c and it should be varying from 1 by c. So this is basically will give you a 0. But note that b's lower bound value is like 1. So this can in fact so this k in fact has to be at least greater than equal to 1, right? So after that, the tricky portion here is to determine how is a is actually calculated, right? So a should be of the form as I told previously that it should be of the form b times some integer I plus some remainder c, right? So let me explain the way we generate all the pairs from an example. Okay, so for example n is given to be 5, so we can have values for c that is 1, that is greater than equal to 1 and less than equal to 5. So let me just write it as 5. Now note for C, for any C value, the range of values for B we can have is like this. So for example, if from this C I choose, let's say my C is equal to 1. I'm just currently analyzing on how to generate all the possible pairs for some given integer n, and then from there I will tell you the insights of this problem. So if C is equal to 1, the possible values of B can be all the multiples of C. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? Now, note that if there is one trick here, that if C is okay, if B my is equal to C, then I will never be able to hold this condition that A is equal to some B times I plus C. I mean, I will not be able to form any valid value of A, which when uh, which when I do modular with B, it will give me C. So, for example, if you just look at it here, for example, if I say 2, if my C is equal to 2, and if I take my B is equal to 2, I will never be able to actually generate A, which will give me value 2 when modulated by this B expression. And why is that? Because A should be of the form uh, some integer multiple, say k times B plus some C, right? Now, if my B is equal to C, then this will essentially be this, right? And I can take out my C common from here and then k plus 1. And now if I do a modular expression of this with respect to B, or here B is nothing but C, I will always get 0. So I can never actually generate valid values of A if my B is equal to C. So when can I generate the valid values of A, right? That's the obviously next question that you would ask. So let's see it like this. If my C is equal to 2 and B is equal to uh, greater than uh, C, right? So if my B is greater than C, and of course B is multiple of C, so the minimum value that I can have is for 4, right? Now I will be able to generate A in this fashion, right? So it should be an integral multiple of B, so 4 times 0 plus 2 can be there. And when I do modular expression with 4, I will be able to get C, right? This is C, this is B, and this is A. So I will be able to do 4 times 1 plus 2. This will also give me remainder 2 if I modulo it by B, right? If I modular it by B, which is equal to 4, this will also give me 2. So note that for a given C value, I can have only valid ranges of B value which is greater than C, right? So let me just write it here. Okay. So B should effectively be greater than C, and of course B is a multiple of C, right? And let's find out where the B value can range. As it says in the question, B is ranging from 1 to n, right? So the so I can say it like this, that B is equal to k times C, and this is equal to less than equal to n, and this greater than equal to 1. So the valid values of k as I did it earlier also, is n by c, and this is of course greater than equal to 1, right? But we just saw that k cannot be, I mean b has to be greater than c, right? So if k is equal to 1, then my b is equal to just simply c. So my k is greater than, should be greater than 1 also, right? So my k should be varying from 1 to n by c, right? So long story short, all I want to say here is this, that for a given value of c, right, the valid ranges for b value is nothing but 2 times c, 3 times c, so on and up till n by c times c, right? This n by c is the here. I mean, all I did was this. This is nothing but k's, right? K values, right? This 2, 3, and n by c. All these are k values. Okay, now that's cool. Now let's find out the values of a, values of a for a given value of b, right? So say if my b was 2c, right? This term. So I have a triplet that is currently c, 2c, and this a. And I told you before that we can write this a in terms of b like so. So integer I, some integer I times b plus some c, right? Now if I do like modular of 2c, I will be getting the remainder c, right? So that holds. Uh, so this I value itself can vary from, can be greater than 0, and it can be lesser than some value, right? Okay, so let's just find the upper value of a. So I want to say is this, that this I times 2c plus c has to be less than equal to n, right? And greater than equal to 1. So if I do like minus c, this will be like negative. So I can just put it on lower bound, says it should be greater than 0, and I should be basically lesser than equal to n minus c by 2c. And as I, this integer value can definitely it has to be greater than equal to 0, right? Because no negative multiples of b we can take. We only have to take like positive or 0 multiple. I mean the I value always starts from 0 and goes up till some positive integer. uh, that's true because a itself is varying from 1 to n, and there is no question of negative integers here. That's why. So now, uh, as I is varying from 0 to n minus c by 2c, so let me just find out the terms in it. Because for a given value of c, we have for a given value of c, we have a value of b, and for this cb, how many a exists, right? That's what I'm looking after. So those many a exist, uh, for which this I value is greater than equal to 0 and less than equal to n minus c by 2c. So for each value of I, there will be a corresponding unique value of a, right? So for I is equal to 0, We have a is equal to just c. For I is equal to 1, we have a is equal to 3c, and so on, right? And now we have found that what is the maximum value of I. So that's this. Now the terms in this, I mean how many terms are there in this, is nothing but n minus c by 2c plus 1, right? Okay, so let me just now summarize all the results here. So for a given value of c, right? For a given value of c, we have all the valid values of b as 2c, 3c, and so on up till n by c times c. Fine. And for each of this value, I have these many terms. So yeah, it was n minus c by 2c plus 1. For this, simply by mathematical induction, you can say that it's n minus c instead of 2c is just 3c, right? Uh, because here now it will be 3c, and correspondingly you will put here 3c, and you can just replace here by 3c, or you can say it simply by induction 2 plus 1, and so on up till n minus c by n by c plus 1. Okay, now let me just sum these things up, right? For a given value of c, uh, the s- the total number of terms for a given value of c is this, right? Simply. And so on and up till. Now note, the number of terms in this series is basically quite easy to determine. We can simply see that this series starts from a value of 2 and goes on up till n by c. So we can simply say that the terms here are nothing but n by c minus 1. And let me just uh, rewrite this equation. So we can carry out all the 1 terms in each of this expression outside, and that will be just terms. So I've replaced this variable here plus. So let me make another thing. Let me write for this expression. Let me write uh, k. Okay, since I used k before, so it can create some confusion. So let me just write it as is. So this is nothing but n minus c by 2c plus n minus c by 3c plus so on up till n minus c by n by c times c, right? So now, okay, so now for a given value of c, I can determine this series, right? All I need to do is calculate this series sum. Now note, this is something special here. Uh, you cannot evaluate this expression in order one time because you need to sum up all these terms, right? All these series terms, and this series sums cannot be done in order one time. So let me write this expression in somewhat similar, in somewhat different way. So if I take this out, right. So if I just add 1 by 1 here and subtract 1 by 1 here, you can see that this series 1 by 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3, right? This series is nothing but can be calculated in order of log of n by c time. And now for this derivation, it's uh, pretty mathematically rigorous. So I'm not going to discuss that. But if you are interested, you can just look at this series sum as 1 by 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3 plus so on up till up till infinite. So this series basically asymptotically reaches a log n expression, right? So the long story short here is all I want to say is this, that if you are if you just simply calculate this series, you can do it in order of log of n by c times. And for each value of c, so c can have an order of n. So for each value of c, you can do this operation of series sum. I mean, these terms are like constant, right? These are order 1 operations. So this series sum can be calculated in log of n by c. Or in worst case scenario, you can say log of n. So this will not give you any TLE, right? So yeah, this is basically I wanted to explain. In the next portion, I'll be explaining you the code. Basically, I just implemented uh, this series sum in my code. Yeah. So basically, implementing this, I did in my next code. I'll be displaying you next.